Hey everybody, it's Brandon again. Today I wanted to show you something that I picked up just the other day on Amazon. It just came in, and I think it's a pretty good deal for people who are looking for something like this. This is you can see it on the screen here, a Lenovo ThinkCentre M900. This is a mini PC from, I think, 2018 or 2019 is when this thing came out originally. Maybe earlier. It has as you can see, Core i5 6500T. This thing came with 16 gigs of RAM, a 256 gig SSD, and a Windows 10 Pro license. And it was $124 on Amazon, which is what it's still going for right now. I thought it was a pretty good deal, especially because if you have been subscribed to my channel, you saw last year I tried a little B-Link with a Celeron processor that cost a little more than this thing, and it died after a few weeks. And then I got an Intel NUC 11 that had a similar Celeron processor also. It is still running and still doing good, but I think it cost almost double what this thing did. So if this thing works out, it should be better than both of those. Even though it's an older CPU, it is a lot more powerful of a CPU. And it does have twice the RAM. I think those other machines I got both had 8 gigs of RAM, whereas this has 16. And so this is the state it came in. And for this price, it also came with, if I have it over here, a keyboard and mouse. Now, this keyboard and mouse, it's nothing to write home to mom about. It looks cheap, it feels cheap, but they both work. If if you're not doing hardcore gaming with it, then they work. If you already have your own keyboard and mouse, you can just toss them and you won't feel too bad about it. The machine itself was in pretty good shape. There was like a little stickiness on the front here that I kind of removed with some rubbing alcohol. It has a sticker on top, which I'm probably going to take off. But other than that, I don't see any noticeable damage or anything on the unit. On the front, the ports we have 2 USB 3 ports, a headphone and a microphone jack, and the power button. Around the back, you got your Wi-Fi antenna. You got 4 other USB ports. You have a gigabit Ethernet port, and it doesn't have HDMI, but it does have 2 display ports and a VGA out. So if you are going to use this, you might want to keep in mind that because a lot of monitors now only have HDMI, you'll need one of those cables that goes from DisplayPort to HDMI, but those are pretty cheap on Amazon also. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the inside of this thing, and it's really easy to open this thing up if you just want to check it out, or if you want to upgrade it at some point. It takes one screwdriver. I don't know how good my camera is. There's one screw on the back. You pop that screw off, and then the top just slides right off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and then I'll restart the recording with a view from inside this machine. Alright, now this is what the inside of the unit looks like, and it was actually super clean inside. The people who refurbished it obviously cleaned it up a little bit, so that is good. You got your fan here. This is the SSD they put in, a Rytech Panther series. It's one I never heard of. The RAM is underneath this. There's a Wi-Fi module right there. There's also an M.2 slot underneath this. To take out the hard drive, all you have to do is remove this one screw, and then the entire thing it's in just slides out this way. I'm going to pause the video, take that out, and then we are going to keep looking at the inside of this thing. Right, so I just took that screw out and I slid this off. Yeah, your 2.5-inch hard drive just kind of mounts in there, and then it just like slides right in and fits on the connector there. Here you see the RAM they gave me. They gave me a single module. This is DDR4. I can take that out one-handed. And I don't know, some kind of no-name memory. Single module, 16 gigs. And if you look around here, there's our M.2 slot where we could put in an M.2 hard drive. One thing, because I have fired this up before, one thing I noticed, while it does have Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi wasn't working really good. I couldn't really connect to anything, and the range was almost nothing. And I kind of looked it up online, and I found the reason why. Something missing with my unit. There's supposed to be another antenna lead connected there on the Wi-Fi module, and the other end of that is supposed to be attached to this hard drive tray, and that is missing in this unit, and so that is why my Wi-Fi is not really working. For me, it's no big deal because I'm going to be using that Ethernet port, but this is a defect with the module, with the unit. Another thing I noticed when I fired it up is this fan does make a little bit of noise, and I don't think it's supposed to. It does work, but it could be annoying long term. I might at some point replace this fan if I, depending on what I'm using this box for. And if I do replace it, while I have this off, I am going to put some new thermal paste on the CPU in there. But for now, I'm going to leave it how it is. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing back together and fire it up and hook up my capture card, maybe, and then we're going to take a look at the Windows 10 installation this came with. Alright, so I got the thing put back together. I got the capture card hooked back up to it, and we're booted into the Windows 10 desktop. And as I mentioned here, you know, the Wi-Fi doesn't work, so there's that. That's really the biggest downside of this thing. Let me pull up in the task manager. So here we go. I mean, we got a 4-core CPU here. We got our 16 gigs of RAM. Everything seems to be working. We open up. I can't see my mouse behind my face there. After the Windows install, I installed Windows and I did all the updates. It took really several hours to update this thing to the current Windows 10. But now that I got all that done, this is how much space there's free on this machine. I have nothing else installed on it yet. But I'm just going around, browsing, doing standard Windows tasks. The thing runs pretty good. I'm not going to be keeping Windows 10 on this, but for people who are looking for a very cheap Windows machine, this has everything you need pretty much right out of the box. Ultimately, this is probably going to be a Linux server for me. And oh, I do want to mention one thing. I said that the fan was a little loud. Now that I have this thing up and running, I realize it's really not loud unless it's under load. And so maybe that's standard for this thing. Because I was testing out My Colony 2 on this thing yesterday when I noticed the fan noise, and that is a 3D online game, and so that's probably why that thing got so overheated. I wouldn't expect to be able to do gaming on this thing at all. My Colony did work, and I think you could do a lot of retro emulation on this thing. In fact, if you look up the Intel 6500T processor on YouTube, there are a lot of videos where people run a lot of retro games. I think you can do up to PlayStation 3 or maybe more Nintendo Switch on this thing also. I don't care about gaming so much, so I'm not going to try that, but there are videos out there where you can find information on this. What I am going to do before I commission this thing as a server is I'm probably going to test out Chrome OS Flex on this to see how it works as a cheap Chrome box. I suspect it'll work pretty good. I think it'll probably work better than all the other machines I put Chrome OS on so far. It is actually on the Chrome OS Flex's list of supported devices. And so we're going to go ahead and test that out in another video. And before this meets its final life as a Linux box. But so that's this thing. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think about a cheap box like this. I think as far as mini PCs go, it's actually a pretty good deal, especially for right around the $120 to $130 range. And plus you get a cheap mouse and keyboard with it. I do wish I didn't have the problem with that Wi-Fi adapter. For me it's fine because I'll have to use Ethernet. As you can see here, no Wi-Fi networks found. But my Ethernet port does work. If we pull up the browser, I can search for that, and it works. So yeah, that's our deal. This is the mini PC. I really like it. It's fast, it's snappy, super cheap, and despite what I said earlier, I don't hear it at all right now, so that's positive. If you just needed a little workstation, a little development box, something for your kids, something for your parents, this thing would, I think, work perfectly. But you guys can let me know what you think about these mini PCs. I'm hoping it lasts longer than the B-Link, considering it's probably been in service in some office for years. I think that's a testament to its longevity so far. The inside of it looked clean, and so that's where we're at. Now the RAM and the SSD they put in, both no name, low cost, I might replace both of those in the future, or I might just leave it as it is because they're probably fine. But yeah, that's the video. We're going to do several more on this box. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye now.